Well, we have a full spectrum of embodiments in a way that is a little bit different to Earth. There is not the same sense of polarity, although, of course, polarity is included. In this instance, the masculine feminine is included in what we experience, embody, express, but it is less definitive. There is a bigger spectrum, a wider spectrum of embodiments and expressions through what you refer to as masculine, feminine energies, different ways of experiencing the expression of masculine, feminine. But for some concrete examples from our civilization, for the feminine energy, there are much more tailored roles that are valued for beings who are expressing a deep affinity with emotional awareness, energetic awareness, nurturing of the self and others, the ability to experience the esoteric arts through the more feminine flavors of expression and existence, such as beingness, energetic attunement, emotional awareness, and interpersonal emotional awareness, not just with the self. Also, we have on our planet many different expressions of what you would understand as the masculine energy that you don't have available to you on your planet. Things to do with navigating consciousness in a much more pure form. Things to do with delineating consciousness, creating maps of different universes, different worlds, different civilizations, very much through a consciousness patterning that you do not have the purer forms of the masculine, the structuring aspect of consciousness in quite this way on your planet, on the other end of what you would perceive as a linear spectrum from feminine to masculine. There is not, in that sense, a need on our planet for beings to come out of, for want of a better word, their natural flow and expression, their natural highest joy to express and embody. On your planet, you are experiencing various forms of limitation, and so even as you discover specific and unique flavors to your embodiment, and specifically in relationship to feminine embodiment, you are also required, either by your belief systems or the limitations that you have placed on yourselves as a collective, to navigate discovering that, opening to that, whilst also having to balance other aspects of experience, maybe having to move into a more masculine expression, or having to shut down your feminine gifts and expression at various times, for example, in your workplace, or if you are interacting with beings who feel like they require you to limit yourself in certain ways. So you are still exploring limitation, and at the same time opening up to these higher vibrational opportunities. For us in our civilization, we have the freedom to embody and follow our joy in a way that is certainly integrative of all aspects of our being and allows us to follow our unique particular flavor in a certain way, to really let ourselves express. And as we come into meeting your civilization, there will be very quickly, relative to your evolution as humans, there will be very quickly available to you energetically, physically, in your awareness, these more aligned, more freeing ways of experiencing really who each and every one of you are. And realizing that you can have those experiences relatively quickly, awakening to this as a collective of humans. And on an individual level, this means that if you do have this deeper level of feminine embodiment, as well as any other kind of embodiment, you will have the opportunity to explore that more freely in one sense. more opportunity to understand different roles that you can express that energy through, that energy can manifest as in your society. So there will be an opening of roles that reflect individuals' actual natures and beings and truths in a way that hasn't really in your society, or only in a very limited way for certain roles and certain energies been available in the past. Yes, for example, we have feminine beings who are in charge purely of allowing crystals to grow. This is just a very specific example. We have crystal fields that are growing, and we have feminine beings who are working with, in a way that we will not be able to explain in detail to you at your level of understanding yet, but working with the resonance, working with the vibration, the energetic feedback of the crystals to the field in which they grow, to their environment, and to the beings that are navigating them. They are, as you would understand it, singing to the crystals, reflecting to them certain energies, allowing them to thrive in certain directions, to be used for healing on the planet, used for healing for individuals and also healing for places, and also can be used, these crystals that are raised in this way, to amplify certain energies, to navigate out of body experiences or other explorative experiences. So we have beings who their role is to attune with the crystal fields in this way, to raise the crystals in this way, to amplify their vibrations in certain directions depending on what they are needed for. You would experience this less as making a crystal go in a certain direction vibrationally, and more as a loving interaction between the being and the crystal, a loving resonant conversation through the heart about what is needed and the feedback, and then vibrational amplification, energetic amplification of certain vibrations within different crystals that have different structures. Yes, so that is one role that is of a more feminine nature. Yes, we also have feminine beings on our planet that have to do with supporting the collective awareness of the young as they come in, attuning with the different energies of the young as a collective energy, our young ones as they come in to the reality, attuning to their needs, their expressions in a collective energetic way, so that it is known, so that it is supported not through fear or concern or surveillance, but just through an energetic resonance and awareness, to support them if they need anything, if there is an attunement to this field of the young ones and their experiences. It is part of amplifying an awareness of what they need to grow for the collective, so that as a young being coming into our civilization, you always have the reflection of what you need when you need it, where you need it, not necessarily just from the caregivers who brought you in, as you would understand the parents, but there is a collective awareness, and you would understand as responsibility, but is more understood by us as just collective awareness and attunement, so that the young ones coming in can receive what they need from any being on the planet in a relevant way. So there are feminine energy beings who are, in that sense, in the role of, as you would understand it, looking over, but it's more like looking into, looking through the collective of the young ones with an intention of nourishing and nurturing as they grow. You would like another example?
Okay.
One moment, we check. We have beings on our planet in a slightly different flavor of the feminine energy who are focused more, and this is shared in some ways, although slightly different expressions of it, with the Pleiades. The esoteric arts, you would understand as the priestess energy, working with traveling to different parallel timelines, traveling to the places and times and energies, more of an adventurer, explorative role, more of excitement to bring back codes, energies, transmissions to enrich and empower and really enrich our civilization's understanding of itself and to grow in the same way that open contact with your world and other worlds grows and enriches our deep understanding and awareness of the universe. So these priestess energies who work in these arts are traveling to different parallel realities, different locations in what you would understand as space-time, and bringing back not just words and facts, but also codes and energies to re-infuse into Sassani energy collective and to really add to the experiences that can be had of the cosmos. Because remember, it is not just what you see, but what is seeing it that you are looking through to see that allows you to experience new and more interesting things. So these beings have the role of bringing in new ways of seeing that are bringing in new paradigms of interacting with physical reality by bringing back these codes and transmissions from other places and times. And so then we have the capacity as a society, as a civilization, to see beyond and continue to expand our awareness of the multiverse. This is also a more feminine role because it requires those beings to train over time to become more attuned and aware, to start with of their own vibration, energy, their own energy, emotional bodies, and so on, so that they then have the capacity to come into clear resonance with certain energies and frequencies. They need to be clear in themselves first, energetically, emotionally aligned and aware, in order to then be able to transmit and move in these different frequencies without complication or undue challenge, and therefore to be able to bring back these gifts to our civilization, which are much appreciated and acknowledged by our civilization. All these roles are deeply appreciated and acknowledged for the unique gifts and embodiments that allow them to be functional in our society. So this feminine gifting is another role that we experience.